Hello everyone, I'm Forrest McFreelava, and this is Let's Play Italy and Hearts of Iron 3, number 13. We left off, let's bring up our old battle plans, having gone through Operation Summer Storm. Now, the plan was to encircle and destroy the Soviet forces here, and then gun forward somewhat. We have done far more than we had planned to in that time, which is pretty great. We did lose a little bit of land, which is less than fortunate. However, it cleans up or frees up our Marines for use somewhere else. We didn't actually end up launching any of these offensives, and we ended up, in fact, losing one province. If we go ahead and look at the overall battle lines between the start of last session and the start of this session, you'll notice some major Soviet offensives have occurred against the Germans. However, we have launched a few offensives of our own, and the front lines have shifted generally throughout, at least to a small extent. And we're going to keep up these overall lines as we just move forward, as I feel as though they are interesting little additions and give a nice strategic overview and let us see exactly what we're achieving. At any rate, with Operation Summer Storm concluded, we are now opening up Operation Volgar, which is going to be in part our attempt to reach the Volga and perhaps even move along the Volga and even beyond it, if possible. I'm pretty sure that's the Volga. I really hope that it is, because it's a play on words and it won't work if it isn't. And anyway, to achieve that, let's stop selecting these plans. First things first, we do have a mechanized and an armored unit. We're going to pluck up this group of Marines, probably drop them off in such a way that we can take over a decent portion of this coast and still have a supply line, and then rove in and cut off all of these Soviet forces, which will hopefully encircle, reduce, then destroy. This area will probably rest up. We might end up attacking with them if they manage to get organization up to a pretty decent level before too long. We'll probably move a decent amount of forces to the edges and then just try to encircle as much of this infantry as possible. So we'll go ahead and add that to the plan so that we aren't so terribly off if we do end up doing that. And we'll go ahead and just show these as a few pincers, one probably coming out from around there and another coming out from around there. And the goal will be to ultimately just encircle and destroy what we can of these Soviet forces, hopefully doing some pretty decent levels of damage and cleaning up the front a little bit. As we've seen with the overall lines, the Germans are falling quite rapidly, not as rapidly as we're making progress, however, on a much larger front. So it's very concerning, and we definitely need to support the Germans if we want them to really just bear the brunt of the Soviet offensive. Alright, well, with that all said and done, let's get to it. No reason to delay. We'll go ahead and first things first, there are some areas where India's basically given up on. We're not really going to focus on them. We will move some of these units to just guard the lines, move these units around, just in case we do end up going forward with this operation. Everyone over here, though, is basically just doing their jobs already. We're going to have this unit move forward. Nah, that'll take too much losses. We'll just keep moving everybody in a general sense just around. Here's India, in case you forgot the terrible mess that is Indochina. The plan is not to really worry about that. Alright, let's see. There's a battle. We're fighting defensively against Soviet forces. We'll go ahead and bring these ships over to help. Let's see. We could probably send this group of mechanized units over since we've already technically won that battle. We are being attacked somewhat effectively, actually worryingly effectively, so we'll just retreat forward because that's a thing we can do in this. And let's see, we'll even go get first air transport. Let's see. Are they in range? Yes, well, air supply way up here at the very edge of the front. At the very frontier of our forces. Can we fight right here and hopefully win that? It looks as though we may be able to, in fact. Now it looks as though we won at least a minor battle. These forces might just charge forward. It looks as though they're winning there too. So by the looks of it, we might not actually have to wait too long before we start working to encircle and destroy these Soviet forces here. We'll just charge forward with this mechanized unit. And really, the Soviet forces are not in the best of places at this point. This battle is going fairly well for us. We'll just keep rushing over. Hopefully that group of Marines will get into position quickly, and we'll be able to move on from there fairly rapidly. These groups, can we see, will they actually win the battle? If they attack, they will. That's great. Spanish nationalists, not as great. We'll roll down and try to deal with them. Looks as though we are just making some general advances on this front, which is pretty great. We are under attack here, but it's not going too poorly, so it doesn't matter all that much. These units will attack that infantry group. Looks like the Soviets are desperately trying to launch some sort of counterattack. We may outrun our encirclement efforts because the entire front is more or less mechanized units. This infantry group, let's see if we can support them. And it looks as though we will be able to. The Soviets are definitely being a problem, though. Looks as though we did win that battle, which is great. And are we still going to win this battle on the side? Yes, we did. Alright, in that case, yeah, we're just going to make a general thrust forward and hope for the best. These forces, sadly, it looks as though we won't be able to encircle that group of Soviet forces. We will just rush over here. This group will now stay put. And hopefully that will encircle and destroy them in just a moment. Let's see. Alright, we did end up losing that battle as they did bring in more forces. Well, alright, that's not great. These forces can roll up and hopefully start surrounding some Soviet troops. This infantry group's going to have to run up fairly rapidly. We'll send these forces over and around, and they'll work on encircling the Soviet forces. It looks as though this area was a lot weaker than I had anticipated. Hopefully that group will just cease to exist in a second. Although that remains to be seen. We'll go reinforce our army there, and that's doing very well. Can we reinforce these guys? It's as though we won one battle, we'll rush forward. These troops are also going to start rushing over. We lost that battle, but we'll hopefully win this one. With those forces retreating, we'll bring those men forward. We are gunning it into the Soviet divisions right now. And doing a fairly decent job against them. We are really at a point where it's going to be just a lot of these more or less minor actions, but which will hopefully all build up into something major. Alright, these forces will just keep bringing forward. Admittedly, we risk getting encircled by doing this. These guys we're going to rush forward in just every direction we possibly can. These guys will charge forward even though they're rather disorganized. I imagine so are the enemy. And it looks to be paying off, that assumption. These troops will just attack right there to clean up that area and make it so we have more of a gap to run into. And you'll see that things are really just going very one-sidedly at this point, which is very nice. It's going one-sidedly in the favor of our side. Now the Soviets are probably doing just as lopsidedly against the Germans, only lopsidedly in their favor, which is probably going to be a fairly bad thing for us in the long run. Let's see, which of these is more organized? This armor probably is. We'll just attack right there. Hopefully they'll try to defend for at least a moment, which will allow us to encircle them to an extent. These guys are going to just keep charging forward. Hopefully we'll just rush through that headquarters. And it looks as though we've defeated them. Have we? No, we're still fighting. They're still actually putting up a fight. Air supply is doing fairly well of just aerially supplying these troops. Everyone here is going to run forward. And let's go get this Navy to go pick up those troops. And we're going to pluck up the Marines in just a second and start dropping them off in order to secure the far northern areas of the Soviet Union. There we go. Just like that, these units should be trapped. And I believe this unit is attacking, so there we go. That will hopefully end fairly soon with the destruction of those Soviet forces. These troops will charge forward still. And hopefully we'll just capture all of these forces, and that will be a very great thing. All these battles going very well, very locksightedly. We'll charge this group back over here. These guys can just keep going forward, deeper into the Soviet Union. We might even just roll into Stalingrad kind of accidentally. These troops will just go up. We have a lot of troops built up here for no apparent reason. We'll just attack. These troops will also just kind of attack. And they're doing well enough, so it doesn't matter. These guys are all really disorganized, but they're still probably the most organized units in the field in this area. So we'll just rush forward with everyone we've got. I imagine we can probably just win that battle handedly in a second. So we try, and it looks to be paying off. So I appear to have terribly underestimated the fighting capacity of our troops, which is kind of a nice thing to do compared to what we had done previously, where we really overestimated what they could do, and it almost ended in disaster. Alright, these groups are going to just add to an entirely new corps. We'll just tie that to 2nd Army. No real reason for doing that. We'll go over here and pick up these Marines. Please, come on, go rebase here, pick up the Marines. We'll add them to 35th Corps as well. And there we go. Oh, come on. There we go. These battles are all being won. We'll hopefully encircle a decent amount of these Soviet forces. We'll rush down and around and just go everywhere we really can go, which is pretty much everywhere there is to go. These forces will probably just instantly win that. These guys will rush over. We'll keep these guys kind of close by. And this group can go around just because. Actually, is there even any reason to do that? No, there isn't. Then we'll just send them straight up. Alright. All these battles, various areas just being won. We'll send these forces deeper into the Soviet Union. These forces will just go over here. That unit ceased to exist, so we'll just roll over this way. Probably attack right there. And here you're seeing the complete and total collapse and rout of Soviet forces in the region, which is a pretty nice thing to see. So we'll just drop off these forces over here on this area. We might want to drop off one of these groups, maybe the armor down there, so we don't have to worry about that battle, but it doesn't matter. We're already nearly at the city. We might just land them on this side of the river, just to get a decent foothold. I don't imagine Soviet forces are really going to be that much of a threat on the other side, as nothing has really led us to believe that they will be. These forces will continue to charge forward. Our armored units are pushing inland. This unit will just kind of roll down through the coast. We'll try to just rush over to this side. This side of the river is going to be filled with our forces in just a moment. And, alright, first things first, we'll charge in with only the Marines, leaving everyone else behind. Whoop, I didn't mean to do that while we're moving. Alright, so apparently everyone's just fine to go through there. So we'll just send everybody. And worst case, we're going to have some horrible supply issues that might kill a lot of our troops. So worst case is actually a pretty bad case. If anything else happens, though, we're going to do very well. So we're just charging forward. Soviet forces are in complete disarray, which is a pretty nice way to have the enemy. And I imagine it won't be too long before this entire front just kind of collapses. I mean, arguably, this is what we're seeing right now. The complete collapse of the Soviet Southern Front. They're still making gains against the Germans, I assume. Let's go ahead and get the overall lines up. And yeah, we are seeing the breakdown of German forces in a lot of areas. The Soviets are making some really significant gains, and that's probably not going to stop anytime soon, which could potentially be a major problem in the future. Right now, though, it doesn't matter all that much. We are facing some supply issues just because of how quickly our armies are roving into enemy territory, but if there's really any reason to have supply issues, this is a good one. And we'll just keep gunning it into enemy forces. It looks as though they're really just falling apart at the moment. And we'll make sure that we take Astrahan and really just secure the river. These forces will continue after that one Soviet unit. It looks as though we have one battle going really against us, and that's this one right here. So we'll stop just harassing them so hard, as that looks to be a bit of a bad thing for our own forces. Alright, this battle's going alright. We probably should have just left that unit going where it was, but we'll just fight there. Never mind, that's a terrible place. It looks like it's going poorly. And we'll just keep rushing forward and surrounding the Soviet Union's forces like that. We don't even have to really fight them. We can just go around them until they're all trapped. These units are all going to keep that up as well. And really, this is just the tremendous, borderline ridiculous power of an armored assault. These units, the Marines, are going to charge in over land and attack that city. Sadly, it looks as though an enemy force is blocking the landing of these men, so we'll go try to battle them. That looks as though it's going to be fairly one-sided once we actually get involved. These Soviet forces are continuing to retreat. It's really just the headquarters right now and some garrison units. The United States is making quick progress against us, yet not anywhere near as monumentally as we are against the Soviet Union. Admittedly, they're probably taking over many more much highly densely populated areas than areas we're taking over right now. But, you know, it doesn't really matter. Who cares? We're going to take over the basically most important areas of the Soviet Union at one point or another. And the Soviet armies are just breaking down. They are trying to funnel out through here and escape by the looks of it. We're going to just roll around and take over whatever we can. It looks like we're under attack right here, so we'll just hold off for a second. And just keep charging in a general sense, though. We are not really at risk of anything terrible happening to us at this point, unless the Germans break, which they might. Let's take a look at the Soviets. They are not quite near surrendering, in fact, very far from it. Let's see what else we can get, though. We could get Western Russia if we really wanted to. Central Asia, perhaps. The Urals, maybe. Kamchatka, West Turkestan, Turka region. We may as well just go for Western Russia. Acquire Western Russia from the Soviet Union. Alright, so that'll be basically all this bit, I imagine. Hopefully it won't look really dumb what we end up taking. We'll probably keep adding war goals until we feel safe, and that'll probably just make it look really ridiculous, but the most important thing will be that it'll be far away from our central areas of power. Oh, looks like that would actually be a significant fight, so let's not fight it. And let's roll these forces around and over and link them up with the others. This group we will have charging against these Soviet forces, and they're doing very well. Alright, these guys will just keep going over this way. We can probably just chase these Soviet forces. And yeah, everywhere looks to be going fairly well. All these forces are really no longer chasing after anything of any importance in that region, so we'll probably just leave that part of the Soviet Union alone and chase up the, let's see, what river is this even? Is this also the Volga? Probably not. It's probably a completely different river. Can't even think of what it would be, though. Don't know my Russian rivers all that well. So, who knows? Maybe it's the Volga and it just splits off in some weird ways. Maybe it isn't. Maybe it's something different. Maybe that is the Volga and this is something different entirely. At any rate, it doesn't matter. Who really cares? We're going to take the Volga one way or another, whichever river it is. Sorry for just flinging the camera over in that, like, just moment. At any rate, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter at all. We're charging. That's the important thing. We're making a tremendous breakout against Soviet forces. And, well, I guess break in, really. We're just breaking into the Soviet Union in a way that is pretty lopsided. It looks as though they're pulling a lot of forces away. Hopefully that will give the Germans some more breathing space. Forget living room. They need breathing space at this point. They're just really getting compressed. All these forces are just being destroyed. We are out of supplies here, which is a problem. Our Marines are unfortunately not faring very well against the city, but we'll have it surrounded in a second. Alright, so that'll be the full surround of those Soviet forces, and then we'll roll up and take that city and then roll on back. And we could just attack right there or just roll through. We can't really support that, which is annoying. Air transport, can you get over to there? We'll rebase you guys here. Please go quickly. Alright, please resupply. Alright, awesome, we can do that. There we go, we have linked up these forces. Now this group and these groups will charge in and hopefully do some damage to that Soviet force. It looks as though it's actually going somewhat poorly for us. Or that's the battle of this city, as the Soviets are attempting to break out from in there. We are now supplied again, at least somewhat, so we'll just go charge in there. It looks as though that's going rather poorly, which is terribly unfortunate. Overall, though, even if we do lose some lands there, we are just gunning it through the entirety of the Soviet Union's forces in the region. And we'll charge back there to hopefully cut off that group. This group is now also cut off. Where are some victory points? Up here and just up along the river. So these three units are doing absolutely nothing for the cause right now where they're at, so we'll just keep them rushing over this way. And yeah, we've seen the breakdown of Soviet defenses. We'll probably just rush in through Stalingrad without really anything resembling a fight. These forces will just stay put, and all of these troops will hopefully be cut off in just a moment. Let's see, these guys are going to stop attacking because that's terrible. It's just wasting their organization for no reason. And we'll hopefully get that city completely circled in just a moment. These armored units will rush over there and then support that battle. This garrison troop, I don't know what it's doing. It might actually be able to survive if by just going there. We'll rush all these guys over, send that infantry to garrison. Looks as though we did win this battle. These forces will probably run over there. So yeah, we did somewhat poorly in our initial invasion of the Ukraine. Now that we're attacking the Ukraine from the opposite angle, we're doing much better. So yeah, hooray us. There is a very bad battle going on right here. So let's stop supporting those troops for just a moment. It looks as though we did win that battle anyway. We are losing ground where these forces are attempting to break out, and that is a potential risk to at least some of our forces. We'll rush these guys over. Let's see what's going on here. Just some sort of battle. We're being attacked by more enemy garrison forces. We'll just roll up through there. Looks like we just accidentally won a battle against them. Alright, we've won that battle. They appear to be retreating somewhere completely different. We'll charge these groups up. Everyone there is to just keep rushing forward. All of you guys are to just keep rushing forward. All these corps are very much behind their armies to the extent that we're going to have a lot of difficulty getting orders sent forward to our troops. And let's see, we'll move this group over to here, move this group over to here, and move that group over to there so we can attack all from the correct side of the river. And by correct, I just mean the same side that the city's on, which will make it hopefully a bit easier. Looks as though we are having a little bit of difficulty taking that. We did win the Battle of Stalingrad completely one-sidedly. Alright, these forces are all on this side of the river, the enemy's on the other side, but that's not really a bad thing because now they won't be able to break out with anything resembling ease. These infantry groups should probably just rush over here. Yugoslav nationalists will go deal with that and run back. USA still being a problem. Looks as though they're trying to break out up to here, so let's prevent that. That's the Yugoslav nationalists again. Alright, let's just try to run around these forces on the river. And once we do that, I don't really fear very much will happen. That'll be in any way negative to our forces. Let's go from Stalingrad into that garrison troop, and we'll rush these guys around. Everyone else, let's just keep charging you up the river, get on either side of it, and you'll be doing great. You guys also just go because you can, why not? Actually, you might want to go over this way, as we're probably going to reach increasingly stiff resistance as we move. We are really going through our oil, which is not great, and we are going to run out in 28 days at this level of use. Usually I would say something about this level of use not really being one that we would maintain for a while, however, we very well may. Alright, these three groups are going to charge into this city right now. It looks as though they're doing a pretty stand-up job of it. And alright, so that group will hopefully cut off the Russian retreat there. Sadly, it looks like some Russian reinforcements filled that area, which is a terrible problem. We'll go cut off their forces right there as well. This group will stay put. This group will also probably stay put, only that armored unit will actually move forward. This group will hopefully circle and destroy that retreating group of garrison troops. Let's see, can we just attack that group yet? We can, and it's going alright. 35th Corps has been shattered. That was this new corps we had just built, the fancy new corps of our force. Let's go ahead and just attack right here again. Looks like we might have to attack from this side of the river, which is a problem. Alright, no, we can't actually do that. Let's see. First tactical bomber, let's get you over to here. Rebase. Second tactical bomber, where are you? You're way over here. Okay, that's a good spot for you to be. They're going to come in and ground attack those troops right now. The Marines are starting to really face the worst of it, so let's go charge in here and attack this city again once more. It looks as though it's already gone, which is good. These troops can hopefully defend for a bit. Please break again once more. Alright, we are facing some supply issues. Where are our air transports? Air transport, please go over here and just do an air supply for this general area, just the troops in the area wherever it seems as though they need it most. Hopefully that's how that order is interpreted. Stalingrad, once again, is our city now, which is pretty decent news. Let's take a look. They're still not ready to surrender. It looks as though Courland has been cut off and is now a pocket. And other than that, though, things are going all right. Oh no, Soviet forces are managing to escape through this new gap. Everyone else is going to just have to charge in and try to keep that from really being anything at all. Let's see, this will just kind of be how it is going. We'll charge these groups over to reinforce, and it looks like that should hopefully break those Soviet units. Everyone else is gunning it forward. This is a really large amount of Soviet troops to have pocketed, and arguably it might not even stand up as a pocket. We may be a little bit overconfident with this one. Nevertheless, we are going to try to move forward with every last... well, we'll just try to move forward as best as we can. These forces are also going to keep rolling over. We need to move everyone we can over to here to help reinforce and hopefully just flow through this side. We'll charge down from here. Maybe that'll work. Maybe they'll fight and win. It looks as though they will. These troops are going to support. Let's see, where is a group of tactical bombers? We need some bomber squadrons now. Air transport, do your thing. Tactical bomber, let's tactically bomb these guys as much as we can. Just do ground attacks and hope for the best. Alright, these troops are still moving forward. That's good news. We'll hopefully surround that parachuting squadron, para-division, whatever you want to call it. We'll have this group go up to the city. This group will charge over and then up to the city as well, because why not? And actually, you know what? This group will go for the city. We could probably use these troops over here quicker, and it doesn't really need to be done. We don't really need to go fight that one battle. This tactical bomber group will also redeploy and just tactically bomb them. We are facing some problem with the Soviet forces being just a bit more than I had bargained for in this area. These forces are all going to keep working to try to surround and destroy whatever forces they can. And we're definitely gunning it forward into their forces. They're bringing a lot of reinforcements to bear, so let's go ahead and attack with this armored unit. And maybe we'll even be able to launch some limited offensives over in this area. Let's try it. And it looks as though we do have the superiority in force necessary to actually pull this off. So let's see if these troops will be able to pull that off too. Maybe with just enough numbers we'll be able to do it. And we may be able to just roll the Soviet attack back, at least somewhat. Alright, this force is going to charge in and try to just maintain the destruction of those forces. It looks as though that managed to work, which is great news. These troops will go in and try to reinforce. That force is unfortunately going to have to stay back. Can we attack and win there? Looks as though we can. Let's go battle these paratroopers. Looks like it's going alright. We'll go reinforce them. All these guys are doing okay. These troops are all doing okay as well. That's being held. We'll take one of these armored divisions and roll it up with the other. And alright, we're going to start pulling these forces back, as it looks like this might have been too much for us to bite off. We bit off more than we could chew with that instance. Hopefully we realize that soon enough to rescue some of these men. And once we destroy this little pocket, we'll be able to roll in and secure the area around and behind them. They are being aerially supplied. Oh, no, that's not what I meant to do. Okay, we'll have those units just stay put. That's good. It lowers our battle score a little bit, not too much, we can only hope. Air transport, let's go ahead and air transport this group in particular. Just because they really seem to need it. And we'll get reinforcements over quickly. How's this battle going? Very in our favor. Okay, these forces have to roll through then. Hopefully they will cut that group off. And everyone's going to keep doing their jobs, keep their cool, and win this war. That is the most important thing. We are gunning it through the Soviet Union right now, to an extent that I don't believe we're going to have to face any more Soviet divisions in this portion of the front. What that really means is we're going to have to dedicate a lot more of our forces over to here. We are already gunning it forward in these areas, which is great news. We will charge even more forces over, maybe even cross to the other side of the river and potentially encircle all of these forces. Now we are under attack, which means they are going to start counterattacking whenever possible. Looks like we won this battle. All of these mechanized units are to roll up. These units will roll up. This unit will roll over and up. Let's see, we'll just charge in with these units. We can't because they need 14 or so hours more to just sort of build up. These units we'll charge forward with. Maybe that'll work. It looks as though it might. That unit will not, so we're not going to do that. We'll just go and reinforce right there. How's it going? Decently well. Okay, good enough. This group of armored is going to roll over to the flank. Looks as though we lost right there, which is a significant issue. However, our units do have supplies now, which is very good. Not all of them, of course, just those ones in particular. Apparently we were being fought right there and lost that battle instantly when we attempted to encircle the enemy forces. We'll attack from here, and that's doing very well for us. There's just one battle that's going kind of poorly, and it's right there. We could probably just stop attacking, and now things look to be going fairly calmly. Alright, we could just leave only one force in each of these provinces, not that it really matters. Let's see, where is our first air transport? First air transport, you're going to go ahead and transport supplies to these guys now, as they apparently are the ones who need it. We have new armored divisions ready to go. Let's go ahead and first destroy this pocketed enemy force. Looks as though that's going very well. These troops are to rush up. These troops rush over. And alright, we should be at least decently good. We could drop off these new armored units over here and use them to bludgeon our way through these forces. Alternatively, we may want to bring them over to here to work through these Soviet defenders, as it looks as though a large number of Soviet forces is inbound. It's really just a matter of preference at this point. What we will do is we will put them right there, create a new corps, 36th Corps, and we'll just attach all these other units to it, and when we decide what to do with them, we will use our Navy to transport them wherever we decide to go. This way, though, they will build up organization as we wait. Alright, this battle's going really poorly, so let's stop fighting that. And we can probably bring this armored unit over and around to hopefully just maintain control over these Soviet forces and just keep them down, really. Just keep them suppressed. Alright, let's try to rush over here with this group and just battle these Soviet forces around us. We're nearly done with that battle by the looks of it, if things are all going as well as they could be. Or as well as they should be, we'll say. This battle's going alright. Alright. Let's keep this up. Let us just keep this up. That is the most important thing, is we must keep this up. Did we lose a province to the United Kingdom? Oh well, it doesn't matter. Alright, we've finally taken the city. The city is ours now. Alright, good news, great news. Alright, these forces will go over this way. These troops will probably stay where they are at. It looks like they're going to lose that battle, so we'll just retreat them to the city. Or we'll just retreat them back to the other side of the river. Doesn't really matter all that much. We do need to reinforce these guys, so let's get our, let's see, second tactical bomber. We will just tactically bomb in this general area. Maybe not such a large general area. Let's calm that down a bit. So tactically bomb in that small, large area. Tactically bomb just right on there. Hopefully that will do some good for those men still in the area. Soviet forces are doing pretty decently well against us, which is a problem. We are encircling some elements of their army still, though, which is good news. And we are just charging forward throughout. This battle's going pretty badly for us, so we'll just rush into the city so we can hopefully move from there and just keep encircling these forces. It is a tremendous amount of land to be trying to launch a successful encircling campaign into. It looks as though they are so well organized that they're defeating this disorganized armored unit. So we may have to bring forces over and around to deal with that. Back over here, we will attack just once again with our infantry. And they're doing very well. We could even try to cross the river at some point, but I am worried about what that would really entail and what it would cost. Alright, these troops are going to charge forward. America still being a problem. Soviet Union still also being a major problem. These troops are going to rush down to ensure that we can hold that area. Looks as though we're actually facing some pretty severe difficulties in just maintaining our control. Where are our air transports? You guys keep up the air transporting. Please do so. Alright, I guess we're having a problem with that. Alright, let's go back over to here. Or where exactly can they air transport? All the way just up to, but not at it. So we'll just try to air transport supplies to all of these units wherever we can. These forces are going to have to retreat, but apparently they're having difficulty actually getting out. Okay. Interesting. Everyone else is making decent progress at a fairly rapid clip. We really do need these forces over at other areas much more than we need them up this river. We'll just send this group up and over and then eventually around. This group will have go over there and then charge over. Everyone else needs to really stay in the fight. Let's see. We will rush this group forward and maybe charge against that force. Everyone else is doing their jobs very admirably. We'll pull these forces over and maybe try to encircle some Soviet units if we get the chance. It looks like there's a significant pocket of German forces now. We also have even more armored ready to go. We'll just store them here, add them to a new corps, add this corps. I guess just write to Mediterranean Command, get up some organization for them. These forces are doing pretty poorly in Donetsk and that area. We'll charge over here. And let's see. Alright, so these Soviet forces are doing weirdly well without any access to supplies that I can really see. We'll charge over here and see if we can break that force. Nope, that's not going to happen, not like that. We could drop 2 of those new armored divisions over, say, right here, and then roll through and take over that area to open up a supply corridor, and hopefully cut off the Soviet forces from whatever supplies they're still somehow managing to get, however they're managing to get them. So that might be a course of action to take. They are still very disorganized. We are facing some major supply issues, though, which is the biggest concern we're facing at the moment. These Soviet forces should technically be unsupplyable, though. It just depends on how well the situation unfolds in our favor or not. Looks like we finally did win this battle. This group will just go charge down there. The infantry will go where it needs to. These troops are all going to keep going forward. This group will attack and hopefully surround and destroy that final Soviet group. Is this battle going decently well at all? Looks like we are winning it fairly handedly. And yes, supply issues are really the major thing at this point. And while the Soviet forces aren't really in anything resembling a good spot, neither are we, just because we don't have the supplies to keep this level of action going. It's not even that we're running out of oil in a general sense, we're just running out of oil we can get to our troops. We need to open up a supply corridor if we're going to keep going and keep actually winning these battles. Now, it would be risky to drop armored units off right here because we can't really guarantee their success. Wait, can we just rush in? They were trying to escape, but it seems like that only lasted until they realized we were going to fight them. So we're actually going to not charge in there. That was a little bit rash on my end. I was hoping they would commit to evacuating and we would be able to just go in through there. These units are going to try to keep closing the gap against these Soviet forces. They have now cut off all of these troops. They are now completely separate from everywhere else. One of these areas should have something resembling a dock. Alright, that Soviet paratrooper division is gone and destroyed. We're not going to attack right there, that's a bad idea. These troops will go attack right there, hopefully destroy that force. And we'll just keep encircling them only further and further up. Let's see, everyone's pretty disorganized. Nothing's going terribly well. And a lot of Soviet forces are coming in to reinforce is the main concern. Alright, all of these armored units are going to rush forward. We'll send the infantry over and send these groups forward as well. Let's see. We'll send these guys forward and then just charge up, hopefully trapping that one Soviet infantry group. We are losing some of these battles. We're really going to have to think about getting our units out of here, just because that situation is really turning against us at this point. Let's go rebase these forces. We'll go bring these guys over to there. We will attempt to just keep naval superiority to keep this causeway open as long as we can. And we are definitely facing some supply issues. Looks as though Britain is now a real country centered in Africa. We can't really do anything with these forces as they have expanded as far out as they can. Alright, these troops are really going to be facing some difficulties if we can't get them a supply corridor that we can hold and defend. This group's facing a lot of trouble. We'll retreat them to the city. We are definitely facing some difficult times. It's just a matter of how we handle that. This battle's going alright. We'll charge forward. Hopefully the Soviets are doing just as poorly as we are. They're hopefully just as disorganized as we are. And let's see, we'll try to hold that. This group will try to rush over. Hopefully they'll destroy that group. They are winning. That's good news. Let's see, we'll charge this group over into them. It's not going great. This group will rush south. Alright. This group, I guess, will just keep fighting. Everyone over here will just keep fighting as long as they can. Just keep fighting, guys. You guys can probably roll up. That isn't a terrible thing. Alright. Let's see. We are doing really poorly in that battle. We can really just expect to continue to do that poorly. That group of armor's moving over and around. That group's moving over and around. Can you guys move forward? No. God, no, you can't at all. Alright, nothing's really breaking apart though, which is good. It looks like the Soviets don't even have enough forces to man their defenses here, so we'll charge forward, send some infantry groups out and around. And we've definitely done so much damage to the Soviet lines that they're forced to start pulling troops back. And that's great. If we can keep them undermanning these areas, we can probably roll over and encircle these units. We could probably go after some of these units as well, but we don't have enough troops. In fact, though, we have all of these new armored units that we can go bring over. So we probably should have just transported them. So, yeah, whatever. Yeah, we'll just drop all these armored units here and roll around those units with them. That will all take care of itself pretty quickly. It looks as though this area is more or less under control now, not so terrible anymore. It did get a little touch and go, but it didn't stay touch and go for very long. These troops will charge up. We'll just have everybody attack right there. You know, these guys could actually probably move over to there, and that'll do just as well. Let's see, these guys, apparently we're under attack, so now they're retreating technically, which is less than ideal, but still not too bad. Alright, it's definitely time that we start trying to shrink down this encircled group of enemy units. Reduce the pocket is the phrase, as there's just a lot that needs doing. We could probably send this group over to help, as we don't want to get encircled. That would be probably the worst thing. This group's probably going to have to stay put because it looks as though they're going to get fought. Alright, what's this? Minus 98, or 96. You guys can get out of there. We don't need you to kill yourselves, especially not on that fight. These guys can probably go reinforce them. Maybe it won't help so much, but it did help a little. Looks like that battle isn't going too well for the Soviets. We'll go try to reinforce right there, doing okay. Rush these guys down, rush these guys over. And those Soviet forces are retreating. Alright, these guys will go down, just reinforce everybody there. And these guys will continue to go around. Alright, when those forces manage to complete that breakout, we'll be in a great spot. Alright, you guys, we'll leave no one behind. Everyone else is going to just charge forward. And by everyone else other than nobody, that means pretty much everybody's just going to charge forward. We'll encircle those 4 Soviet mechanized units. Do some pretty decent damage against them. Run these guys back over to here. We'll rebase them. Let the days tick forward 1 and then give them just a move order. Let's see, everyone's doing okay. We really need to reduce that pocket, as it is not really a pocket, it's just kind of a large cluster of enemy units. The Germans are still falling back pretty hard, but it doesn't matter nearly as much as it seemed like it did earlier. And alright, so these units will keep going around. Those units are doing their jobs. Everyone's doing alright. Let's see, here all these units, the entire 36th Corps of Armor, we're going to bring you up and get you where you need to go. Alright, we've won all that. That's all destroyed. Not really sure what was in that pocket to begin with, but nothing's in it now, and that's the important bit. This area is really less than ideally secured. Can we win this battle? We've won it immediately. And these forces will just roll around and through and down and just take over whatever they can. And this might be the final turning point in this massive pocketing of these Soviet forces. These troops are still gunning it over and around. Can we just fight this battle and win it instantly? I'm sure hoping we can. Nope, we can't win it instantly, but we are winning it fairly quickly. These troops will roll around. It looks like we immediately won that battle, and we'll hopefully just win this battle next and then cut them off. Those troops lost, which is less than ideal, but not too bad. We are facing those supply issues, same supply issues as previously. These troops can probably go and just defend their brothers. And it looks as though that's going to work fairly quickly and fairly well. These troops will keep going around. Let's see, it looks like we are being fought right here, and probably pretty hard. Large Soviet counterattack on this province. We'll just fall back from that. We don't really need it, and it is kind of on a salient. These troops aren't actually going to go forward because we don't want to lose the pocket. Can we just rush into here? It looks like we can. It only appears that we couldn't because we were out of supplies for some amount of time. And we're just fighting right here against a bunch of Soviet forces from any different angle. Many different angles. Alright, we're winning there, kind of losing there, but we'll just circle over, destroy those Soviet forces, and roll back. Proletariask? Okay. Why not Soviets? That's an interesting name for a town. Proletariask. I mean, I get it that you're communists, but still, that's a bit much. Alright, these forces are doing well, still going forward pretty quickly. Looks as though we aren't even facing very stiff opposition, which is great news. These troops probably going to stay right here, probably reinforce that group in a moment when we get the chance. These guys will also rush over, and these guys will probably just rush straight over. And let's see, 8 hours until that's ready to go, and we'll hopefully have these Soviet forces more or less caught and hopefully destroyed when that occurs. These guys are probably going to have to run over and just ensure that this encirclement holds. Can we just win this battle? Nope, let's not do it. These troops will go over and reinforce. We did win that battle, which is great, and in a few hours we'll be able to finish the encirclement of these Soviet forces over here. I really wish we could get all these encirclements taken care of before this session ends, although it doesn't quite look as though we'll be able to. Luckily, these Soviet forces aren't doing too well against us there. Looks like they're launching some sort of joint strike that isn't doing too much damage against us. And these battles aren't going amazingly well, but they are going in our favor somewhat. Can this armored unit defeat these infantry? No. Alright, so we'll just stay put. Let's see, this group will continue to rush forward, this group will stay on the end. We'll probably stop that group from going forward. More battles of Proletarisk. And we're winning them. Proletarisk. Anyway, whatever. This group will charge over. This group will go over the river. Looks like we're winning that battle pretty handedly now. And all these remaining forces can probably just start cleaning up these Soviet units. Looks as though they're actually going to put up a fight, so we're not going to do that just yet. And we are facing some supply throughput issues. This might actually be something worth sending our air supply units over to help with. These units will actually go and support right now because we don't want to lose that area. These guys are going to have to stay put. Let's see. We did win that battle, that's good news. And we are getting more and more forces in and around, which is very important. We really need to get as many of our forces as possible to just surround these Soviet units and just maintain this encirclement, hopefully destroy them if possible. This battle is still not going too well. Can we win right there against these Soviet forces? Proletarisk, we've won that battle for the severalth time. Alright, these units probably shouldn't be in the fight, but we really need troops in the field, which is a terrible combination of truths. Everyone else is still doing their jobs pretty well. We'll try to battle with these terribly disorganized units. Everyone's terribly disorganized. That's not good. This armored unit's not so terribly disorganized, so we'll try to run them up and over. Alright, these Soviet forces are hopefully going to be destroyed soon. We'll retreat from right there, as we don't really need it, and it is doing pretty poorly. Alright, this will finish the encirclement pretty handedly. These units are all almost there, and they'll start roving up and over. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we'll even have some spare units. Looks as though we are fighting a battle there, and just generally throughout. None of them are going too terribly poorly. This unit's really going to have to stay put, despite the fact that they're facing a lot of difficulties from all of these Soviet forces. First tactical bomber, you guys, can you tactically bomb all the way over to here? Yes, you can, then you're going to want to do it. Second tactical bomber, same deal. Just constant ground attacks. These forces charge forward, get to the other side, and just keep hammering them as much as you can. You guys, charge forward. Can you do it? Yes, you can. Great news. Everyone else, keep going. Just do your jobs to the best of your abilities. We'll try to surround this city entirely. Looks like these Soviet forces are attempting to run through this open gap. Can't say I blame them. Definitely don't want them to do it, though. We can go ahead and probably rebase and pick up a group of soldiers, really any type. We do have those 2 armored units. They might be a little bit much. They might be a burden on our supply network. In fact, they will be a bit much, and they will be a burden on the supply network. But we might need them. Alright, these units are hopefully well enough organized now. They're definitely not going to be well enough supplied. Well, we'll just let them go and hope for the best. These troops still doing relatively poorly, but they are holding the Soviets down. We're going to just have to let that happen, whatever happens. Looks like the Soviets are doing well against them in that battle, but we have reinforcements on the way. These troops can go around and hopefully hit them from the rear. These groups are disorganized, but still doing well. And we now have a bit of a surrounding bit of countryside. Hopefully, there we go, we are doing very well in that battle, which is great. And let's see, right there, worst battle, right there, bit of a problem. We'll just bring one of these armored units down and over. These enemy units are all surrounded and will hopefully begin to break down in just a moment once we actually get our forces over. This armored unit will probably just roll back and just start cleaning up these enemy armored units. The United States is really pressing forward into India. And there we go, this army is now attacking, and they're doing a good job at it, which is very important. We'll roll this group around to just sort of maintain control over whatever we can. We did lose that territory, but we have the territories around it, so it doesn't matter too much. We could try to use these armies to pin these enemy forces down. Maybe later that will be a good idea. Again, at the moment it's kind of wasteful. These forces are all going to keep plowing forward, and we may just stop taking note of the battle lines in the nearish future, as it may not be, well, we may not really be in a type of war that has battle lines in a moment, as we definitely don't really have battle lines over here in the far reaches of the Soviet Union, where things are all just kind of breaking apart. Luckily, it's all Soviet things that are breaking apart, but things are breaking apart. These armored units will hopefully surround Odessa, and that will be a pretty significant benefit to us. Everyone else is doing alright. Let's see. That's all going okay. These forces are now fighting right there. I kind of wish they didn't get into any fights, but we will just accept that when we have to. This unit's going to try to cross the river and fight the Soviets. If they attempt to retreat, then they do. If they don't, then they don't. And it looks as though we may have just won that battle immediately. These areas are going poorly. It looks as though we might actually have that group die pretty shortly, so let's get some air transports over here to just aerially resupply them. And we'll try to break out and rescue them as soon as we possibly can. If we get enough air supplies in, they might be able to make it. These units are going to fight, and it looks as though we might defeat that Soviet unit. Alright. These troops will move forward. These guys are probably going to just stop. Alright, can you guys win that? Not really, doesn't matter that much. Situation's a little bit desperate for this one group of units. Let's get, if we can, some air. First tactical bomber, let's tactically bomb these enemy units. Ground attack right here. Second tactical bomber, you're going to do the same thing, but in a slightly wider cone. And we're going to just try to destroy those enemy units so we can rescue our forces. Hopefully it'll go well enough. Please let us get through there and rescue our men. Alright, these forces are all doing okay. We're managing to move forward against the Soviets. We'll hopefully cut off that group in just a second. This group will rush in, and it looks as though we're winning that battle pretty handedly. They were forced to give up right there. These units are all going to rush forward and attempt to just do whatever damage they can. This group will also charge forward. These groups will just charge forward to there, and this group over to here, and we'll hopefully take Odessa and the surrounding area. It looks as though we might be able to gun it through here and rescue our men. Which, yeah, hopefully we'll be able to achieve that. We'll rush these forces down a bit. Lots of territories are being lost to the Soviet Union. We are winning some of these battles, though, which is great news. A lot of areas are going kind of poorly. Right here is going kind of poorly. We'll just retreat from there since it doesn't matter that much. Down through here, lots going on. Just a whole lot is going on. Can we please supply these units enough? No, they're gone. We tried our best, but they did not make it. We'll just keep these units back here for now. Maybe aerially resupply whatever we can actually get to. So that was a sad loss. Not as sad as the losses that the Soviet Union is going through, though, which is good news. That force is not really going to be able to win there. Ultimately, though, while we didn't complete the pocket, and we do have a lot of forces in now pretty bad supply, we are still able to gun it forward into the Soviet Union, destroy a lot of their forces. We are winning a few of these battles quite well. We'll hopefully block off these forces, take Odessa in just a moment. Please let us do that. That would be amazing news. Let's see, we've won that battle. Everywhere else we're doing alright. And we're probably going to call this episode in just a moment. Bear with me as we just keep up for a moment longer than usual to try to clean up this situation so we actually have a new, well, just a new situation to meet when we start the next session. As right now, it would just be dealing with cleaning up the very end of this. Bam, there goes that one mechanized unit. We can just rush forward with these forces. We'll just destroy that Soviet unit, and we're really just gunning it forward everywhere now. It looks as though the Soviet Union might be at the breaking point. These forces will probably have to retreat. This whole front is kind of a mess now. We're really going to have to solidify that when we come back, clean up what remains of these pockets, and really just do whatever we're able to do. That battle's being won. Alright, so, at any rate, we're going to call it right here, right now, and let's bring up our plans for this mission. Oh wait, no, these are the battle lines. Alright, let's see. Overall lines. Operation Volgar. So Operation Volgar called for the complete destruction of this region and then moving out through here. Also accounted for a small encirclement and destruction of these Soviet forces. All of the Soviet forces here have been destroyed, so we can consider that a major victory. Right here, that did not follow through at all. This really just fell through the cracks, and we're probably going to pay for that in time. We didn't call for any advances or anything in this area. That appears to have been kind of underappreciative of what we're able to accomplish, as we were able to encircle quite a bit of the Soviet armored divisions, at least a full corps worth, plus a lot of motorized infantry. Ultimately, the situation right here can be described as vaguely desperate. It's not good. It's really not great what's going on here, but it is also not that terrible. We are doing a lot of damage to the Soviet Union. I don't think anyone would disagree with that. They are getting closer to surrendering, although we would probably have to clean up this whole area for them to do so. And that would probably take quite some time and quite a bit of effort. So let's go ahead and look, though, at the overall lines and compare and contrast. Alright, so we left off, the Soviets had made some gains. They've made even further gains in a lot of areas. However, they have also been pushed back right around here. Definitely pushed back along our frontier by a lot. So on the bright side, we are doing a lot of damage to the Soviet Union, a lot more damage than really we probably could have predicted earlier on. Persia is still falling, all of their gains have been lost. Japan is going forward pretty much everywhere. They've retaken all the Soviet gains since last time. The United States is plowing through India at a rate that we probably won't be able to stop whatsoever. Britain is back in existence as an African militia, so that's something. Let's see, in the Pacific Theater, it looks as though not much has really changed. The Americans haven't really made any progress, except right there, they took these two provinces in China. So, yeah, ultimately, I think that it's a safe bet that things are going really well. Apparently I accidentally threw in a weird random arrow, but we can probably get rid of that. At any rate, I guess it doesn't matter. And yeah, so while the Soviets are still plowing through the Germans, we are doing a lot of damage to their hinterland. They don't really have any forces left in the southern Soviet Union. We don't really have any supplies, which is going to be a major problem. Let's take a look at supply throughput map mode. We're facing a lot of issues with supplies just throughout this area. Some minor issues with supplies over here. Crimea still has all the supplies it seems to need. We do still have convoys and transports, at least convoy and transport. We are starting to produce all these things again, which isn't really all that helpful, but also isn't unhelpful. And yeah, at this point, we are doing well. We're still moving forward. We're still making progress. We actually may have timed this fairly well. The Germans are retreating. They have been pushed back ever further. Yet that doesn't really matter all that much to us so long as we're able to defeat the Soviets. And if we're able to defeat the Soviets in 1945, we'll probably be able to defeat Nazi Germany. I can't imagine they're going to be all that much stronger. And yeah, once we do that, we will control all of Europe, but we're getting really ahead of ourselves right now. The most important thing is that we are driving through the Soviet Union. We've made considerable progress. We did lose a lot of territory right there, but I think we more than made up for it with all of this. And the general advance of the front, especially in these encircling efforts. So thanks very much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Have a great day, and I won't take any more of your time.